welcome back to another edition of Homemade, and today I am going to show you how to make salmon croquettes. Yes, salmon croquettes. Now, I do have a disclaimer for this recipe. Even though I am using pink salmon this time, I do like to use mackerel for mine, and it tastes just the same. I honestly think I like mackerel more than I like salmon, but the original reference to croquettes is salmon. So we're going to make salmon croquettes, and this recipe, you all, it is so simple, and again, it's so easy to make. Go ahead and get into it and go over our ingredients. So in this bowl, I have already chopped up 2 full stalks of celery, 1/2 onion, and 1/2 of green bell pepper. So I just put that in my food processor and let it go. I'm going to use 1 egg. I'm also going to use 2 tablespoons of cornmeal. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And the reason that I'm not using a lot of salt, you all, is because I've already pre-seasoned my cornmeal and my flour mixture. This is what we are going to coat our croquettes in. So if you notice, this Tony Saturates, I've already put it in here. And I'm going to mix that around once we start to coat our croquettes. I like to go ahead and make my patties up, put them on the plate, and that way when it's time to transfer them to the grease, which I do have preheating on medium heat on the stove, when it's time to transfer our croquettes over, all we have to do is pick them up with the spatula and literally lay them in the grease. We're back, and we are about to start taking the bones out of our little fillets. And even if you forget to take out the bone, you all, it's not the end of the world. It's actually not a lot of bone, and the bone isn't really hard. It's really brittle because it's been sitting in that liquid all this time. So it's not like you're going to be choking on a bone if you forget to take them out. So now that I've taken all of them out, I'm just going to kind of mix that in really well. Now it's time to start adding in our seasonings. And remember, we're not putting in a lot of the garlic powder, onion powder, or the salt because our coating is already pre-seasoned with our Tony Saturates. We are also going to add in our Trinity, which is our onion, bell pepper, and our celery. You want to make sure that you do not forget to put in your egg because your egg actually holds the croquette together. And we're going to go ahead and put in our cornmeal. We're just going to mix this together really well with our hands. So you all, to form the croquettes, all we do is we're going to take a ball, and it is a really soft mixture, so be very careful with it. We're going to take a ball. We're just going to ball it up. And what I like to do is hold it in my hand, take my mixture, and I've already mixed in that seasoning. So once I put on my flour and cornmeal mixture, I like to go ahead and pat it out. And the reason that I do that is because it helps it keep from sticking. So you can pat it out as flat or as thick as you want it. But you want to make sure it kind of looks like a hamburger patty. So that's our first croquette. We're going to sit that down. And I like to make sure that I've dusted as much of that mixture off as I possibly can. So I'm going to do about 4 of these, and I'm going to put them in the skillet just so you can see. Okay, you all, so our grease is nice and hot, and as you can see, I'm going to put it in off my spatula, and all I did was slide it all the way up, take it with my hand and place it back on my spatula, and all you have to do is let it slide off directly into the grease. So that's our first one that went in. And this will be our second one. Again, I'm just going to slide it all the way up. Take it and let it slide off into our grease. And our grease is on medium right now. I am going to adjust it and take it up to medium to high heat. But again, you know, we don't want the grease so hot, because what will happen is the outside of them will cook faster than the inside. Okay, you all, so as you can see, they are a nice golden brown, and when you're flipping these, you do want to make sure that you're careful. Typically, I use my flat tongs to flip them, but today I'm just going to go ahead and flip them with my spatula, and I'm just using my finger just to assist them a little bit, so because we want to make sure that we keep that coating on there. We do not want to take off all of our nice coating that's on the outside. Also, when you're flipping these, you do have to be really careful not to break them up while you're flipping them. So they've been cooking for about 4 minutes on that side to get that nice golden brown. We're going to let them cook about 4 or 5 more minutes on that side so we can have that crunchy texture. Are done with our salmon croquettes, and as you all can see, they look so good. You all, they are so crunchy on the outside, but so nice on the inside. So we are going to go ahead and sample one of these. I'm going to break it apart so you can see how it is in the middle. I already have my salsa, and I am ready. And these are still kind of hot, but I do want to let you know so you can see. And that is so nice, you all. You see that? Even the smell is nice. You can smell all the flavors from the onion, the celery, bell peppers. Oh my goodness, you all, it smells so good. This was one of my favorite meals that I like to eat with my grandmother before she passed a few years ago. Whenever I made this recipe at home, I would always take her some because she loves to eat them with biscuits, rice, and syrup. So about a year ago, my grandmother passed in 2020. But about a year ago, my husband's grandmother asked me to fix her some salmon and rice. And that was my first meal that I ever cooked for his grandmother. So it meant so much to me, you all. Needless to say, we really enjoyed it. But let me just go ahead on. I'm going to just use my hand to even. You all, when I say you can taste every flavor, including the salmon, it does not overpower the salmon, but you can taste every flavor of every spice and every vegetable that we put in there. It is so good. You have to try this. You really have to try this. So if you have not, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel if you want to keep seeing our easy homemade recipes, you all. Cooking is as hard or as simple as you make it. If you keep it simple, just be yourself. Life itself can be so much easier. Until next time, thank you for joining me for another episode of Homemade.